I want to make a distinction here, right? So there are people who talk about drug selling as a victimless crime. Tell that to the mother of the addict, right? I mean, tell that to the guy whose television got stolen to pay for the drugs that the drug seller was selling. Tell that to the guy who got shot in the crossfire when that drug seller was arguing with another drug seller. It doesn't look to me or to the neighborhood like a victimless crime. But what it is a transactional crime as opposed to a predatory crime. So a predatory crime like robbery, the victim runs away from the perpetrator. A transactional crime like drug dealing or prostitution, the other part of the transaction comes toward the seller. Right? So drug buyers and sellers congregate in street markets because the place to buy is where people are selling, the place to sell is where people are buying. The logic of enforcement is completely different in those two conditions. And yet our law enforcement discussion treats everything as an arrest. If you put a burglar in prison, you cut down on the number of burglaries in a strictly mechanical way. He's not doing the burglaries that he would have been doing. Unless he was part of a crew, nobody's doing his burglaries for him. Right? Burglary opportunities aren't scarce. Burglars don't compete with each other for apartments to break into. So there's nothing about taking a burglar off that brings a new burglar on. If you manage to put a high-rate burglar in prison, you can actually do something to the burglary rate. Drug dealing is just the other way. If I put a drug dealer in prison, I reduce the number of drug transactions by 0. Because his buyers will find other sellers. I've just created a niche for a new seller or for an existing seller to expand his business. But one way or another, that customer gets satisfied. So drug law enforcement starts out with a presumption of futility in a way that ordinary crime enforcement does not.